First bite. The observation chamber was dead silent except for the rhythmic hum of the air filtration vents and the occasional flick of a pen nervously tapping on glass. Dr. Elena Voss adjusted her lab coat for the 100th time that hour. She stood behind the one-way window, her eyes locked on the pair of alien girls seated at the table inside the adjoining room. Everything was being recorded, every blink, twitch, and subtle movement. The taller alien, Sirea, clicked her tongue with irritation. Her skin shimmered faintly in the light, pale blue with subtle patterns that shifted like ripples on water. Her companion, Uri, smaller and rounder-eyed, poked at the plate in front of her with a skeptical expression. The contents: mashed potatoes, green beans, and a modest slice of apple pie, a standard first-contact culinary sampler. Ori leaned forward and sniffed the food. Her nostrils flared. She gagged. "This is what you consume." Sirea's voice rang out in perfect synthesized English, piped through the translator around her neck. "This texture, it's like damp earth after a chemical spill." The humans in the observation room shifted awkwardly. A few exchanged glances, but no one laughed. Then came the moment that made history, just not the kind they were expecting. Ori scooped a tiny amount of mashed potatoes onto her spoon and hesitantly raised it to her lips. The moment it touched her tongue, she recoiled. "Disgusting!" she snapped, launching the spoon across the room. It clattered off the wall, spraying a bit of potato on the metal floor. "Primitive, nutritional slurry." Sirea smirked, folding her arms across her chest. "We attempted diplomacy," she said, glancing toward the hidden cameras. "You offered us this substance. If this represents the pinnacle of human achievement, I grieve for your species." Behind the glass, someone whispered, "Well, that went well." Dr. Voss clenched her jaw. "We still have one more option," she muttered. From the back of the room, a junior researcher named Tom stepped forward nervously, holding a box. It was greasy. Steam rose through the flaps, and inside, as if touched by angels or aliens themselves, sat 6 slices of pepperoni pizza. Tom cleared his throat. "What if we tried comfort food?" Voss hesitated. "We're not authorized to—" "It's pizza," he said flatly. "If this doesn't work, nothing will." She sighed. "Fine, do it." Minutes later, the aliens raised their eyebrows as the new dish was placed in front of them. The translator chirped. "This is flat bread with coagulated animal fats and crushed fruit paste." Sirea narrowed her eyes. "It is called pizza," Tom said, stepping into the chamber himself, against every protocol, but no one stopped him. "It's a cultural icon," he added. "You mocked mashed potatoes. Fine. Try this or don't. Your call." The aliens exchanged a glance. Ori reached first. She sniffed the slice. Her eyes twitched. Slowly, cautiously, she took a bite. The room held its breath. And then she froze. Her pupils dilated. Her grip on the slice trembled. Sirea tilted her head in concern. "Ori?" she asked, but Ori didn't answer. Her body twitched, and then she took another bite. A massive one. Cheese stretched from her mouth to the crust, and she didn't care. Her elegant posture crumbled. "Oh," Ori moaned. "Oh, stars." She turned to Sirea. "Try it. Now." Sirea frowned. "I refuse to degrade myself with—" Ori slammed, her hand on the table. "Try it." That was the first time humans ever heard an alien shout. Sirea picked up the slice. Tom took a cautious step back. She bit into it. Her expression changed immediately. Her shoulders dropped, her eyes widened, and then her breathing grew rapid. Voss leaned forward. "Is she choking?" "No," Tom whispered. She's crying." Sure enough, a single tear had slid down Sirea's cheek. "More," she whispered. "Do you have more?" Tom placed the box on the table. Both aliens began devouring the slices with a strange urgency, not like hunger, but like panic, as if the food were vanishing from the universe and they had only seconds to experience it. And then it happened. The lights flickered, the air chilled. Suddenly, alarms began blaring. Red warning lights bathed the observation chamber. Emergency shutters started lowering automatically. "What the hell?" Voss shouted. "Power spike!" Someone yelled, "Wait, no, it's them!" Tom looked back at the girls. Both were frozen mid-bite, eyes rolled back. Ari's hand was shaking uncontrollably. Sireya's skin flickered with unfamiliar colors. Red, orange, a pulse of violet. "Turn off the cameras," someone screamed. "Shut it down!" But it was too late. Sireya slowly lowered her slice. She looked directly at the observation window, right at them, through it, as if the one-way mirror didn't exist. She spoke, not through the translator, but with her real voice, low, echoing, trembling with something that didn't belong in a lab. "This flavor," she whispered. Ori followed, her voice overlapping Sireya's in eerie unison. It was banned in our kind for a reason. The lights cut out. Darkness. Screams. Then silence. The craving. The emergency lights flickered back on slowly, casting an eerie red glow over the sterile observation room. Dr. Elena Voss rubbed her temples, trying to steady her racing mind. The power surge had knocked out several systems, but the alien girls were still conscious, if frozen in place and trembling. Tom hovered near the control panel, eyes wide and unblinking. "Their bio-readings are off the charts," he whispered, voice barely audible. "Heart rates through the roof, neural activity, it's like they're on some kind of stimulant." Voss nodded grimly. "We need to isolate whatever's causing this reaction. Pull the food samples from the chamber." The orderly moved in to clear the pizza box, but Ari's hand shot out faster. She grabbed the edge of the table, digging her nails into the metal like she was holding on for dear life. Her lips quivered. Sireya's eyes flicked open slowly, now glowing faintly with a strange luminescence. "We want more," Sireya said, voice low and strained. "No," Voss said firmly, stepping forward. "You've had enough." But the girls didn't budge. Instead, Ori's expression twisted into desperation. "More," she repeated, her voice cracking. The tension in the room was palpable. Elena exchanged a glance with Tom, who looked helpless. Suddenly, the girls lunged forward as one, grabbing the last remaining slices. The scene was surreal. Beings from another world, whose biology had been studied for months, now seemingly addicted to a simple Earth food. "What is happening to them?" Tom whispered, dread thickening his voice. Discovery in the data back in the lab. Data streamed in fast. Sensors recorded every heartbeat, every brainwave, every subtle chemical shift in the aliens' bodies. Dr. Voss and her team worked frantically, trying to understand the bizarre phenomenon. "Look at this," said Dr. Harris, pointing at a glowing spike on the screen. "Their dopamine levels are off the charts, way beyond anything we've seen before." Tom leaned over, brows furrowed. "But pizza? It's just food. How can it trigger this?" Eleanor shook her head. "It's not just the food, it's what's inside it. The combination of spices, fats, the fermentation. Something about it is unlocking a response we didn't predict." Hours passed. The girls remained fixated on the pizza, shoveling slice after slice with wide, almost frantic eyes. Their skin shimmered with shifting colors, signs of biochemical changes in progress. Meanwhile, Ori's trembling worsened. At one point she collapsed, gasping for breath. Voss rushed to her side, fearing the worst. "Stay with me," she urged softly. Ori's eyes fluttered open. "This flavor, it's..." She struggled to find the words, voice distant. "Forbidden. The forbidden flavor." The phrase echoed in the minds of everyone present. "Forbidden?" Tom pulled up old files from the alien species' known history. Most of it was sanitized, incomplete, a species shrouded in mystery and sealed records. But one thing caught his eye, a footnote in an obscure report. Culinary prohibitions exist in the Martovian culture, notably against Earth-based flavors associated with ancestral memories. Ancestral memories? Elena frowned. This suggests a link between their taste receptors and deep genetic memory. Like a trigger, Tom said. The team dove deeper, pulling out cultural archives and scientific papers. What they found was chilling. Millennia ago, the alien species known as the Martovians had a schism. According to fragmented data, early Martovians were descendants of a human-like civilization who had evolved separately after ancient spacefaring migrations. Some Martovian elders believed that certain Earth flavors carried genetic imprints from their distant past, sensations that, if experienced, could unlock memories that were best left buried, and pizza, earthy, spicy, fermented, was one of those forbidden tastes. The taste of memory, back in the chamber, the girls' behavior grew. Stranger. They talked less, their eyes glazed as if replaying something inside. Soraya suddenly spoke, voice trembling. "We remember. Fragments." Auri nodded slowly. Visions. Faces. Places. Tom swallowed hard. "What do you see?" Soraya closed, her eyes whispering words that sent chills down Eleanor's spine. Earth. Ancestors. Wars. Betrayals. The aliens were not just tasting pizza. They were reliving forgotten histories etched into their DNA. Ori's hands clenched tightly. "It's a curse," she said, voice breaking. "The taste awakens the past, pain and fear we tried to bury." Elena's heart pounded. "Is there any way to stop this?" Soraya shook her head. "No. Once tasted, it lingers." Rising suspense. The facility went into lockdown as warnings blared louder. The girls' physical transformations became apparent. Their skin pulsed with shifting hues, their pupils elongated, and strange symbols appeared faintly glowing beneath their skin, like tattoos coming to life. Scientists were baffled. "This is evolution in real time," one whispered. Tom felt a connection forming. Over days he talked to the girls more, breaking down barriers. "They aren't monsters," he told Elena. "They're scared, confused." Soraya caught his eye. "We didn't want this to happen. We came to learn, but now everything changes," Ori added, voice weak but clear. "If this spreads, it could end us." The cliffhanger. Then, one night, as the facility slept under tight security, the lab monitors flickered. On every screen, a strange message appeared, ancient Martovian script glowing ominously. "Cease all contact. The humans have reawakened the taste. Prepare for extraction or termination." The words sent a ripple of panic through the staff. Elena grabbed her communicator. "Alert the command center. We may have just triggered an interstellar incident." Tom stared at the screen, voice trembling. "This is bigger than we imagined." The warning, the crimson glow of the emergency lights, reflected off the sleek walls of the research facility as panic began to ripple through every corridor. Elena Voss stood frozen in front of the glowing monitors, her mind racing to comprehend the message that had just appeared. "Cease all contact. The humans have reawakened the taste. Prepare for extraction or termination." Her pulse hammered in her ears as she turned to Tom, who was equally pale. "Extraction, termination. What does that even mean?" she asked, her voice tight with fear. Tom swallowed hard. "It means we're not just dealing with a scientific curiosity anymore. This is a warning, probably from their home world. They don't want us messing with something sacred." Unseen eyes as the message continued to haunt the screens. The facility's communication channels suddenly crackled to life. A cold, distorted voice broke through the static. It was in a language none of them understood, but the tone was unmistakable, a demand, a threat, a promise of consequences. "Who's that?" Elena demanded. Tom shook his head. Unknown. Probably some kind of Martovian enforcement unit, or, worse, security protocols kicked in. The facility locked down tighter. No one could enter or leave without authorization. Sireya and Ari sat in their containment chamber, their strange, glowing tattoos flickering with a sinister light. The girls looked exhausted but determined, eyes fixed on Elena and Tom. "We warned. You," Sireya whispered, her voice weaker but charged with meaning. "The taste is not just flavor, it is a key. It opens doors, doors to memories, to power, to old conflicts." Ori's eyes glistened with unshed tears. "They will come for us, for you, for everyone who touched the taste." History resurfaces. Desperate for answers, Elena delved into the archived records of the Martovian species, seeking any hint of what extraction or termination might mean. The fragments she uncovered were haunting. The Martovians, a species descended from an ancient offshoot of humanity, had long ago faced a brutal civil war, not over territory, but over knowledge. The taste was a forbidden genetic trigger linked to a powerful ancestral memory. When activated, it unlocked dormant abilities, but also painful recollections of betrayal and loss. To protect themselves, the Martovian elders had created a secretive enforcement force, a shadowy organization known only as the Custodians, tasked with eliminating any who risked exposing this dangerous history. If the Custodians considered Elena's team a threat, the warning could mean imminent danger. Tensions. The laboratory grew tense. Scientists argued over the ethics of continuing their research, while security personnel prepared for a possible breach. Elena's team worked tirelessly to study the biochemical changes in the girls, hoping to find a way to reverse the effects of the taste. But the girls' condition worsened. Their glowing tattoos grew brighter, and their behavior became increasingly erratic. One night, Ari whispered to Elena, "The taste is changing us. It connects us to the past, but it also awakens something dangerous inside." Elena nodded solemnly. "We'll find a way to help you, I promise." The first attack. Suddenly, alarms blared through the facility. "Intruders!" a guard shouted. Elena and Tom rushed to the observation deck just in time to see a sleek, black ship hovering outside the perimeter, its hull pulsing with an alien energy. The Custodians had arrived. Cliffhanger. As the ship's doors opened, shadowy figures emerged, armed with weapons that shimmered with an otherworldly glow. Elena gripped Tom's arm. "We need to protect them, and ourselves." The alien girls, their eyes now blazing with power, stood ready. The battle for the taste, and for their survival, was about to begin. The siege. The cold, alien figures stepped onto the facility floor, their presence casting an immediate chill. Elena's heart pounded as she watched them approach with unyielding purpose. These were the Custodians, the enforcers of Martovian secrecy, here to extract or terminate anyone linked to the forbidden taste. Tom's voice was low but urgent. "We don't know their full capabilities. Be ready for anything." The facilities, security personnel formed a defensive line, but it was clear they were outmatched. The Custodians moved with swift precision, their weapons glowing faintly, emitting a hum that set every nerve on edge. The alien girls awakening inside the containment chamber, the girls' glowing tattoos flared brighter, illuminating the room in shifting hues of violet and blue. Their eyes burned with an intensity that was almost otherworldly. Ori looked to Sireya. "We can't hide anymore," she whispered. Sireya nodded, her voice steady but resolute. "It's time to embrace what the taste has awakened." The girls stepped forward, their bodies shimmering with energy as the transformation accelerated. The facility's alarms escalated, warning of structural stress from the rising power inside the chamber. Clash of forces. The custodians advanced. But as they neared the containment chamber, a pulse of energy burst forth, knocking several of them off balance. Elena shielded her face as a shockwave rippled through the hallway. "Those girls," Tom muttered, awe and fear mixing in his voice. "They're not just affected, they're evolving." The girls' powers were unlike anything the team had imagined. Their glowing tattoos shifted into patterns that seemed to channel ancient Martovian symbols, a language of power and history coming alive. The emotional tollers. The battle raged. Elena kept her focus on the girls who, despite their growing strength, seemed vulnerable. They were not warriors. They were victims caught between past and present. She remembered the moment Ori had told her, "The taste awakens not just memories, but pain. We are burdened by a past we never chose." The weight of their suffering struck Elena deeply. "We have to protect them," she thought fiercely. A desperate plan. With the facility under siege, Eleanor and Tom retreated to the control room. "We need a way to sever the connection the taste has with their genetics, at least temporarily," Elena said. Tom nodded, pulling up genetic analysis data. "There's a complex neural feedback loop triggered by the taste. If we can disrupt that signal, maybe we can stabilize them." Working feverishly, the team developed a prototype device designed to emit counter-frequency waves aimed at calming the girls' heightened neural activity. The turning point Elena approached the chamber, holding the device with trembling hands. "Auri, Sirea," she called softly. "We're trying to help you. This might hurt, but it could stop the change." The girls nodded, steeling themselves. As the device powered up, the glowing tattoos dimmed slightly. The energy in the room shifted, tension replaced by a fragile calm. Outside, the custodians regrouped, wary of the girls' evolving abilities. Beneath, the surface darkness swallowed the facility, broken only by the flickering red emergency lights casting long shadows along the sterile walls. Elena's breath came in sharp bursts as she pressed the emergency power override, but the screens remained lifeless. Tom's voice crackled over the intercom, strained with urgency. "We need to move! The custodians won't wait for us to regain control." The girls, Ori and Sirea, stood quietly in the chamber, their glowing tattoos now faint and flickering like dying embers. The counter-frequency device had stabilized. Their condition for now, but the true danger was still looming. The escape plan. Elena gathered the remaining scientists and security personnel in a huddle. "We can't hold them off forever. We have to get the girls out, somewhere safe, somewhere no one will find us." "But where?" Tom asked, anxiety seeping into his voice. "The custodian's reach extends far beyond this planet." Elena's mind raced. "There's one place, EQ, a hidden Martovian archive buried beneath the ruins of old Terra. It's a myth to most, but I've read about it. If the taste is a key, that place might hold answers." The group agreed, knowing that time was their enemy. Descent into the unknown using emergency tunnels, Elena's team moved quickly and quietly through the facility. Outside, distant clashes echoed, the custodians breaching security in waves. As they descended deeper into the underground passageways, the air grew cooler and thick with dust. The walls were etched with ancient symbols, Martovian script long forgotten by the rest of the galaxy. Ori touched the carvings, her fingers tracing the worn lines. These markings, they tell a story of war, of exile, of redemption. Sirea added softly, and of the taste's true origin. Secrets unveiled, at last they reached a massive stone door, inscribed with the emblem of the Martovian elders. Elena worked quickly to bypass the ancient lock, her hands trembling. The door creaked open to reveal a cavernous chamber, filled with holographic records, histories, experiments and warnings from a time before memory. Tom scanned the archives, his eyes widening. This changes everything. The taste isn't just a genetic mutation, it's a biological weapon, designed to protect Martovian culture by forcing unity through shared memories. Elena stared at the flickering images of past Martovians, their faces etched with both hope and despair. But why did they punish those who tasted it? A difficult choice. Suddenly, a holographic message activated, a recording of a Martovian elder speaking with urgency. The taste binds us. It is both our salvation and our curse. Those who reject it threaten the fragile peace, yet those who embrace it risk losing themselves. Elena's heart ached. The girls weren't just victims, they were inheritors of a painful legacy. "We can't just hide," she whispered. "We need to find a way to help them control the taste." Ori nodded, her eyes fierce. "And to stop the custodians from hunting anyone else who dares to awaken it." The final warning. Suddenly, the chamber trembled. The custodians had found them. Through the tunnels echoed the ominous sound of heavy footsteps and alien commands. Elena turned to the girls. "There's no more time. We either stand and fight or lose everything." Sirea's voice was steady. "We carry the future in our blood. We will not let the past destroy it." Cliffhanger. As the custodians stormed the chamber entrance, the girls stepped forward, their tattoos blazing with renewed energy. Elena braced herself. The final battle to protect the taste and their survival was about to begin. Legacy of the taste. The chamber shook violently as the custodians stormed in, their alien forms silhouetted by the flickering emergency lights. Eleanor stood firm beside Ori and Sirea, her pulse steady despite the chaos. The girls' tattoos flared brighter than ever, a radiant display of colors swirling across their skin, a living constellation of power and history. They were no longer just victims of the taste, they were its protectors. The battle within, but the fight was not just physical. Within Ori and Sirea, a storm raged. The taste, the shared consciousness, the painful memories, threatened to overwhelm their minds. Elena reached out, her voice calm but resolute. "Focus on who you are, not just what you carry." Ori's eyes shone with determination. "The taste connects us, but it doesn't control us." Sirea added, "It's our heritage, but we choose our destiny." With that, the girls channeled the energy of the taste, directing it outward in pulses of pure light that stunned the custodians and sent ripples through the chamber. Turning the tide, the custodians faltered, their advance halted by the unexpected strength. Elena took the moment to rally her team. "We have to expose the truth," she said urgently. "This weapon, this taste, it's been twisted by fear and control, but it can also unite us." Tom nodded, sending a transmission to the nearby human and Martovian outposts. "We're broadcasting the archive data now, the history, the secrets, everything." Across the planet's eyes widened as the true story of the taste spread like wildfire. A story of pain, power, and the hope for peace. A new beginning as the custodians retreated, defeated not just by force but by truth. Elena turned to the girls. "The taste is no longer a curse," she said softly. "It's a legacy, one that reminds us all of who we are and what we can become." Ori smiled, her glowing tattoos now a gentle shimmer. "We will help others understand, to heal and grow." Sirea's gaze was hopeful. "Together, we can build a future where differences don't divide us, where the taste unites instead of destroys." The lesson. Elena looked out over the horizon as the first light of dawn broke. The journey had been long and fraught with danger, but it revealed a deeper truth. Sometimes what we fear most, the unknown, the past, our own nature, holds the key to our greatest strength. The taste was more than a genetic anomaly. It was a symbol of connection, empathy, and shared experience that transcended species and history, and humanity, with all its flaws and resilience, was ready to embrace that future. Epilogue. Months later, Elena stood with Auri and Sirea on a Martovian space station, now a center for research and diplomacy. Children of all species played in the gardens, their laughter a testament to newfound hope. The taste was no longer a secret to be feared, but a bridge to understanding, a legacy to be cherished. Elena smiled, knowing that while the battle was over, the true adventure had just begun. The end.